Yeah,
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah,
still there a bit. Jake,
bad lighting.
are you going to explain to us why on earth you're an Internet Explorer?
Because Firefox doesn't like the link for some reason.
Yeah, I discovered that myself just a moment ago.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. Google is doesn't like to play nice. And by the way, we've just gone live. So.
Hooray!
Oh, hey!
Well,
So I had to eat my way out of a narwhal.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love that old fan art that has the pony sona of the of Internet Explorer and is carrying this big icon of Chrome and is like, here, this is all I can do. Please love me. And I feel so bad.
Oh.
I want to hug Internet Explorer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweetie.
This fandom goes through stages where a group of inanimate things are the hot thing to ponify. Like there was a period where browser ponies were really popular, like the Google Chrome pony. There was airplane ponies. They were a thing.
That's still a thing.
That's still a thing.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could tap into this site. Oh, Internet Explorer has crashed for Jake. Rip.
Oh dear.
I wish I could tap into this zeitgeist and just figure it out. Yeah.
Sometimes the airplane ponies dock in midair like real airplanes.
Of course. Oh dear.
And yet there were never airship ponies.
No.
That's true.
There was just airship.
Well, there was some. Yeah. I mean, Blue Shift does have cover art of airship ponies.
Yes.
Well, they were just
sled ponies.
Yeah. And they were also two peas in a pod, which was a very brief thing. But anyway, welcome to this stream, everyone. Please forgive us. We've sinned too much. I just don't know what went wrong. Welcome at one and all. We've got two special guests today. We've got recurring guest Jake, who's joining us from the arse end of the earth with Internet Explorer. And he's not Jake the army guy anymore. He's Jake the radioman. Isn't that true?
Yes, I am no longer in the active U.S. Army. I am currently a dirty civilian turd.
Wouldn't want to be one of them. Yeah.
Terrible. The worst.
Yeah. We also have Skirts, the sentient typewriter, who has descended from the heavens to grace us once more with his presence.
He's so ridiculous like that.
Yes, I'm in fact Kudzu Haiku. Greetings.
No, I thought you were Device Heretic.
That was last time.
Well,
that was last time.
Every season, turn.
Yeah, it's true. Damn. Why is it that whenever someone joins your Discord server, they're greeted with Device Heretic's avatar? Like,
it's a Sweetie Bot Epcot. There's a trigger for that.
Right. Okay.
Pops apparently doesn't know what it is, or maybe he does. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, I've noticed you have been playing around with Sweetie Bot's triggers.
That's because Epcot is best pony, and Epcot must greet everyone to the lemur room.
It's true. She's very enthusiastic about greeting people and saying "piz for whiz" and things like that. So yes, welcome one and all.
Is the single greatest exclamation of all time? Only second.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know the history of "piz for whiz"?
Sure.
I know it's from East Horse, but beyond that.
It's ages ago, I think in 95 or 96, I was hanging over at my friend's house, and it was at his birthday or something. He had a bunch of friends over, and I don't know what it was, but I guess he had this 14-year-old friend who considered himself a would-be programmer. He didn't grow up to become Pinstroke. For some reason, we had an Apple IIe just sitting inside my friend's room, and his other friend was fiddling around on it. And there was this old shareware game, and I'm not joking. The name of it was Metallica.
Nice.
And I don't know if the programmers were trying to base it on the band, or if maybe in some weird freakish happenstance, maybe the band because of that game. I don't know, but it involved this giant armored vehicle that was underground in the center of the earth, and there's this civilization living in a hollow earth, and it had a bunch of mini games where you're this explorer and trying to communicate with these underground people, and one of them was this auction house with a bunch of we're talking Apple IIe, so sub 8-bit graphics of these characters like an antenna sticking out of their heads, and you would you would offer things up at an auction, but if you knew the correct formula, you would just wow the panties off of these things, and you'd sell them something, and they'd all have like a whole bunch of exclamations as they're trying to buy this thing from you, and one of them was "Piz fa whiz," and that stuck with me for like 20 years for some reason. And
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And in an attempt to find this Metallic shareware game, I have found Metallica Monopoly, which is something I was not aware existed. And
I swear it's not that.
Yeah.
It's for Apple IIe, and it has an underground civilization called Metallica, and that's all I have to give you.
I'll take your word for it. Oh, I think I may have found it. Oh, this definitely looks like an Apple IIe. Okay, yeah. Jesus. Right.
I would love to see that if that's something that exists. But anyway,
Children of the 80s, this is your thread. Oh, okay.
Too much of a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, we do enjoy our tangents here. The more tangenty, the better. But we should probably talk about last week's reviews.
We should.
Nobody in here was on them, were they?
Nope.
Nope. We had Tald Old Man and Kinewolf. Have any one of us read these stories? I believe I've read, what was it? Life's Cruel, Unfair, and Needs More Cookies. That was a pretty enjoyable, cute, fluffy Scootaluma Bob. But beyond that, Ferret, have you read any of these? You're the one who reads everything.
I have sadly not, because I've been not reading stuff lately due to external concerns.
Fair enough. Oh shit, Mono's in here.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
No, I mean Mono's in the round.
I know, but I figure she'll eventually come on, and I wanted to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Hi, Mono, when you get around to watching this.
Yep.
I never read anything, but I actually read these stories because I figured that's something we're supposed to do, but whatever.
Nice.
We are totally happy to hear your opinion on these stories.
Me doing the Angels' job for them is how I ended up on the Angels. So you know.
Yeah, careful, skirts. We might have you.
Yeah, this is your recruitment.
All right, so Life's Cruel, Unfair, and Needs More Cookies by Overlord Flinks. Tell me about this fic.
What I gathered from it, well, you know, not to sound insulting, I didn't find it too terribly engrossing, but it's not a bad thing. It had what saves it is the diction, like the prose itself. Has a lot of personality to it. Like Scootaloo is obviously the vehicle, like that carries the story along, but it's all about digging into the head of like this OC character and like her history. But every single little detail they give is making you ask like 5 million questions and stuff, and it's cute and whimsical and fluffy, and certainly makes me wonder if I could ever improve my own writing by giving it more personality instead of being extremely superficial and all show and no tell, So I feel like the overall quality of my life has improved from reading it.
Okay.
Plus, there's arson.
Always. I mean, it's the CMC. Of course, there's going to be arson.
It's true.
Precisely.
Legitimate.
Yeah, it's a story that it's not the kind of story that'll stick with you, and your life will change because of it, and all this and the other. But it's a decent read, and it makes you feel fuzzy inside, sort of thing. So.
Yeah. Also, apparently, Tagalong is actually the Philly Scout that we've seen in the show before. So she's not
Oh, so she's not okay. Well, that's
cool.
Cool.
She's basically a background pony, so you can give her whatever personality you want, but she is actually like a show character.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What are the other ones? So, 10 seconds on Into the Twilight by Fuzzy Ferret. Ooh.
I gotta say, I love trippy sequences because I've written a lot of them myself in trippy crack fix.
Written for the write-off prompt The Twilight Zone, so that does make sense that it was rather trippy.
I didn't really think if there was a message in it, it was uplifting and positive, but I didn't feel like there was enough of a character dynamic to necessitate it. But I was more drawn in by the this is the style which it decided to present itself, and it had like a little spot at like a WTF moment at the. We're not safe for work, are we? We can say fuck.
Yeah.
No, you can absolutely curse.
Whatever.
Like a little fuck, like what the fuck moment at the end that was amusing. But something you gotta love about trippy sequences is when you're able to make 2 or 3 weird things happen within a single span of like a single sentence. Like the beginning of the sentence is describing something completely different than the end of it, but it's all coherent because what happened when you dream. You tend to stuff shifts and changes, and I felt the story captured that well, and that was very entertaining.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
See, now I feel bad. See, now I feel bad that I didn't read the stories because Skirts doesn't read anything. And read the story.
So, well,
I didn't. Now I feel like a kid.
Apparently, we read less than Skirts, and we're a review group.
Jake, you're here for the rest of the. You're here for the 90% of the podcast when it becomes total random fuckery.
You're basically here to be the fanboy, so I don't have to.
Some other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure eventually we'll get him to take his shirt off, and then he's the eye candy.
It's true.
Not anymore, man. I've put on some weight since I've been out, man. I'm not big and buff anymore.
No, you're still cute.
Some people are into that.
Aww.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Supernova by Monochromatic.
Hi, Mono. This one I really liked, and has nothing to do with the fact that I entered a story into a contest that they're judging.
Of course not.
I mean, it. Not that I can personally relate to a whole lot of stuff that happened in the story, but I can tell from both the author's notes and just the diction itself that it was written from a place of, I guess, intense emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's been a while since I've written stuff like that, because most of my shit over the last 3 years have been completely weird and kaizo, but I've written on occasion, had maybe a 5 or 6 hour stint of heavy writing and I almost said heavy petting, where you're just channeling from either a memory or a feeling that you have, and I feel like I don't jump upon that as much as I often do. But this story, it has a very streams of consciousness thing. It breaks a lot of grammatical rules, but to good end. It's all about conveying a thought so much more than a structure, and it's really good. It's introspective. You have to be of a certain age. You have to be over maybe 20 or 25, especially to really appreciate the stuff that goes on in this story. The idea of hindsight and having to move on and with your life and leaving things behind you and stuff is really cool. Nice.
Glad to hear. Fulmer points out that Skirts has an alt for reading that does the reading for them. So fair enough.
He points out 5 to 6 hours of heavy petting. My body's not ready.
Alrighty, and the final one, As I Walk by Luna Uses Caps.
Before we get into that, completely not related to Monochromatic, Swan Song says, name drop me because I don't know, I'm cool and adorable, I guess. So there you have it.
One thing, it seems super cool and adorable, so we will gladly name drop them.
Yeah. Nothing to do with Mono being their roommate. So.
Oh, hello. So back to As I Walk by Luna Uses Caps. Anyone else want to go ahead? Am I
Somebody else read this story.
Am I the only one who read these?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, I can take 5 minutes and skim it really fast, but I feel like that's a disservice. I'm a speed reader, but I'm not that fast.
I honestly thought I had
the obvious question. The obvious question remains of what the fuck is the point of this group anyway? if we're not supposed to faff and we don't read anything, what is your point?
The lack of faffing is for the reviews. We faff excessively in these streams, as many people can attest.
And everywhere else too.
And I'd like to point out, as unofficial review head, the reviews are actually getting done. I was yelling at people today about it.
It's true. And yes,
Plum has fucked off and no stop.
It's true. The people in the live chat are congratulating us on how hard we work on these reviews. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you so much. We'll take our bows.
Plum and Arch. Plum and Arch, you do so much for these reviews. Let me tell you.
The Arch actually does reviews. Plum doesn't do shit anymore.
It's true.
I just let him stick around because he's cute.
I can do now.
Plum is officially the Queen of England. He's the figurehead.
Yeah.
Oh, he's C-squared now?
Apparently so.
Yes.
Well, C-squared's dead again, so...
Sure. So, yes, you're the replacement.
Bring back Alex Magnet.
I preferred the show before they fired that actor, yeah. Oh, my God.
Man, this show's gone downhill since Seattle left, man.
They really jumped the shark back then, yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Gen winner.
apparently want to get it over anyways. As I walk, you know, was it like years ago? I think they had like Chris Rock on like Academy Awards or something, and they're talking. He was talking about like how he couldn't get Russell Crowe to play in Alexander, so he got like Colin Farrell instead. I feel like Lunas uses cats like the Colin Farrell of Colton Gardez.
That's still a pretty high praise.
Wow.
Yeah, because Colton Gardez is a fucking shit. So you know,
Sig is inhuman, as we've always said. The human equivalent.
You're way better than me, so and it's worth saying, and I'm not just blowing hot air. A lot of this stuff is way better shit than I can ever write. You know, I think that's the nice thing about what y'all doing is that you're highlighting stuff for its quality, not necessarily for, you know, how much like smegma is collected on the internet. In the case of As I Walk, really beautiful freaking diction in it. I mean, this is like this chapter is really dense. It's like 10,000. It's a one shot, all right, but it leaves a lot to be desired because there's a lot of stuff like, oh my god, give me more. This could be like a whole series and stuff. It's about the it's like another fan's take on like the origin of Luna and Celestia. But it's it's going like a lot of directions that you wouldn't really expect that kind of a story to go. Like what Celestia is, she's a Pegasus, not a unicorn, and she's like a blacksmith, and she's living in this sort of like really shitty slum, like during a 400-year war between, I guess, Unicornia and Pegasopolis and stuff. Discord's involved, but he's kind of bodiless. He's only important for the background plot. It's about what lengths Celestia goes to protect her younger sister Luna, who is a unicorn and is thus supposed to be automatically conscripted into like the army, and she's trying to prevent that. It's a lot of stuff is at stake, and like I said, there's a lot of really gorgeously written stuff, and it's all densely packed together. And I kind of feel like I don't know this author, so I can't pretend to say a lot of stuff, but I feel there's like a Black Rose Raven thing going on where like the person has a lot of information and just dumped it into like the story, and it, you know, in a good way. It has a lot of really beautiful spots. It does a lot of Colton Gardez stuff where it's like a bunch of really dense poetic paragraphs, and then there's like a sort of a single sentence on its own, kind of like, you know, like the cigarette after the afterglow. But there's some moments that leave you wanting. And I feel like there are moments that should have emotional provocativeness that doesn't quite have that. Like there's a really nice action scene or like fight scene that happens and almost feels like the weight of that sort of takes precedent over everything else, but it's hard to say. I felt like if the focus was a little bit better, it would probably stand more on its own, but it's really gorgeously written. The dialogue's amazing. It really does in a lot of ways feel kind of like like an original fantasy story redressed in a pony, but in a way that's really confident because you know, I write a lot of alternate universe stuff, especially with Australia and whatnot. And for better or for worse, even though I'm doing a very original kind of world, I'm always grabbing little bits and pieces from the lore. Like I throw in changelings here and bat ponies there or something to that extent to sort of say, no, this is still fan fiction, dumbasses. Look, see, I'm doing something. And if you do that, you know, without pointing too much attention to it, you know, it's believable. You can suspend your disbelief about it. Another thing that I really appreciated about this story, it makes me, you know, want to improve my own stuff, is it's showing and telling at the same time, but it's doing it in a way that's engrossing and make you want to know what's happening at the superficial level. Hate to bring up dead elephants, but back when I wrote Into Ponies, I tried to do something similar where I was introducing the characters to the last pony, who's Scootaloo in the future. And my way of doing that is to show her doing random shit like what's his name in Waterworld, Kevin Costner, or it's like you want to know more about the character, just show them doing stuff like a moment out of their everyday life. In the case of Into Ponies was the last pony hunting down a phoenix and like the ruins of Camelot and all the tricks and stuff that she uses to do it, and just letting you
like a scene in a bar and you know, all that sort of thing. I
forgot you read some of that stuff. Anyways. As I Walk does that in the very beginning with like Celestia as a unicorn, as a Pegasus in like a blacksmith shop where she's basically an indentured servant trying to put together weapons for war. But in between these little details of like, what she has to do to make the blades and like the pain she endures when like random sparks hit her, stuff like that. She's the author's actually like throwing in details and little hints as to what she's there for, what she's struggling for, and what she's hiding and stuff. And that's the kind of thing I failed to do, is to interweave like actual telling in the midst of showing, and it's a higher level that I hope to aspire to someday. But you also with this story, you kind of get moments where you kind of feel like that same craft, that same skill is used a bit every now and then to show off, but losing kind of its focus. But I might put it, it's hard to say. I kind of like monochromatic story a bit more, but this was really invigorating. These two were like my favorite of the four, I think.
From having read other works of Luna Uses Caps, I will admit that while a lot of it is very nicely written, it does stray a little bit into sniffing your own farts territory at times.
I'm quite familiar with that.
Yeah. But overall, still very high quality stuff. So, yeah.
Well,
Very
welcome
good.
back to
Very
everyone. Welcome back to Skirts as Angels.
Yeah. Everyone
Everyone that reads the stories.
Skirts doing our job for us. Thank you, Skirts.
Much appreciated.
So now what the fuck do we do?
Yeah. Oh god, you finished. We've got another 80 minutes to go. Right.
Now we sit and fangasm about how much everybody likes your stuff.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's fucking
Well,
talk about
have
this.
at it, Jake. Talk about Luminous Sky.
Side note, Alan White in the chat, if you tell me what your fanfic username is, I will look at your stories and potentially even read them.
Yeah, she does that.
Mm-hmm.
She does that a lot.
She does.
So yes, welcome to the actual stream, everyone. It's all downhill from here. Skirts has done the best job of that in fucking months. It's because none of the fuckers who do the reviews actually turn up to these things. So it's just us three faffing around. So
it's their fault.
Although
I blame them.
next time after next, I will have done reviews. Yes.
Next set of reviews, I have actually read several of the stories.
Excellent, fantastic. We can
Excellent.
actually be slightly prepared for once.
Well, I gotta thank you all very kindly. First, Jake for being here and being awesome, and also Mass Ferret for being very patient with me. Because every once in a blue moon, she'll message me and she'll be like, "Hey, do you want to be on SA this weekend?" I was like, "No, I'm too depressed this year." And she's like, "Okay, is Mr. Numbers around?"
That's okay.
All right.
I'm here to help.
Oh dear, we do love having you on here, Skirts. The first time you were on here was absolutely fucking hilarious and has stuck with me for years, including like Ponky was remarking on how well I remembered some parts of that stream.
Ooh,
Also,
that one with Punky was amazing. I'm
Dude.
very glad he broke into the anecdote at the end.
dude, Ponky's the story with his wife, yeah? Oh my god.
Yeah, and then his wife was like, "I'm not appearing on that show." Woo!
She's got better
That's
judgment
marriage.
than some. Yeah. Dude, Ponky Skirts dual stream, let's go. Let's get Ponky in here again, because he's a fucking wonderful human being.
We had discussed that before,
Yeah,
but
we need to do it at some point.
but then he pulled a C squared, and I was
Yeah.
still depressed, so that didn't happen.
Oh, rip Ponky. But yeah, next time you two are both alive and conscious, we can absolutely do that. I'm super
Oh my
down for a
goodness,
Ponky
yes.
Skirt stream.
That would be so much fun.
I've also considered like doing the pony spoilers on a podcast, but that would take 5 fucking hours.
Yeah, it would.
So basically, we have you on 5 different times. Or 2.5.
Oh, part 2 of what no one gives a fuck about.
Dude,
Skirts, the chat is lighting up with people.
Yeah. Well, it's lighting up with people saying Mass Fed isn't very masked, but Alan Wright is Petrichord.
Hi, Petrichord.
Hi, Purse.
And
And also
the end of Ponies was amazing, and they still
Yes.
care about it.
hashtag never forget EOP.
Hashtag RIP.
Hashtag RIP. There's people exclaiming their love for background pony, all sorts of shit.
Someone's asking if we can talk about out of character.
Out of character is a fun one. That one I had Jake. Yeah, Jake's here. I had Jake.
Oh, hey, Jake's here.
Basically, my job was to tell. He would say, "Hey, is this fucked up enough?" And I would say, "No, go further."
That's why I have never read it.
If I recall, I shared it with you, and I guess I was just like, I was concerned a lot of reasons about that story because I don't write cupcake style stuff. I write stuff that has violence in it, but not something that's grim for the sake of being grim. At least not since like Last Tears in Tartarus. And this one, I sometimes I leave stories aside because I don't because I just lose motivation or whatever. But this one, I think I let sit for about a month because I actually did not want to write the ending without going into a great deal of detail. Because I think Ferret hasn't read it, but there's like a scene at the end.
Ferret is not going to read it, so you can totally spoil it.
Yeah,
there's
a
safe for Ferret.
Yeah, there's a category of stories which we refer to as not safe for Ferret, which is a lot of dark things and things like that.
There's basically a scene at the end where like all the townsfolk are gathered around in a circle, and Rainbow Dash is in the center and forced against her will to eat Skidaloo's face off. So
That's a thing?
The story is an attempt at like fourth wall breaking metafiction, in that like it's what if like the cast of the show My Little Pony became lucid to the fact that they were in a grimdark fanfic. Kind of, it's a little bit of that and a little bit of Cabin in the Woods, where everything bad that could happen, every trope that could happen does happen. And Rainbow Dash is like the subject of it, and there are moments where like the narration is like sentient, it becomes alive, and is like separate from what the actual plot that's going on, and Rainbow Dash is trying to like work against it and stuff, and the narration's trying to get her to do either lewd things or violent things, and it's like it's kind of comedic in a way, but in a very dark and unpleasant way, and there's like a fourth wall breaking moment that ties into the fact that the story never really ends or begins. If you start reading it, it begins in the middle of a sentence, and then you go to the end, you realize the last sentence, which doesn't complete, continues into the first sentence of the story. So the entire story is like a loop, and you realize that the only reason it loops is because you don't stop reading it. And when the horrible shit happens at the end, there's a moment Rainbow Dash, and she's basically beating the crap out of Scootaloo, and she's saying, stop this, only you can stop this. She's talking to the reader to stop reading the story. And I just explained it. Go on, sorry.
It very much is a story where you are the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because you're the one that wants to read it, and you want to see this stuff happen. And if you didn't want it to happen, you would stop reading.
So in it, to pardon the cliche comparison, but it's Undertale-ish in that respect, where, you know, this bad stuff happens because you, the video game player, are doing it, or you, the reader, want to read about it.
Yeah, I guess I only played Undertale until the Skeleton Brothers appeared. But go on.
Yeah, no, that's basically.
It's not fair.
It's the whole thing of like you say, oh, I don't want to see this happen, but you continue to read, and it's only happening. It's the whole thing of like what's the word I'm trying to look? I'm trying to look for something here, like that quantum theory that something only happens because you do it.
Predestination, something like that. I don't know.
Predetermination.
Yeah, predestination. Yeah, like it's only happening because you're making it happen. It's one of my favorite stories by Scourge, which should tell a lot about my state of mind. That's one of my favorite stories.
Can we take a moment to talk about the history of Jake and Skirts?
Let's do it. I'm down for this.
Because I think I'm trying to remember when we go back and like ever having crossed the stream. So we're I think it was in Pony-chan fic. Jake, you were commenting on like Background Pony, because Background Pony wasn't finished yet. It was like 2012, and I think you're like, you know, why the fuck is this guy so popular and he's writing
my point was, okay, look, I gotta start by explaining this. I loved the first chapter of Background Pony. I thought it was amazing. It was emotional. I loved it, but then it kept going.
Right.
And that's the point. And that's the point where it kind of lost me. And I went to Pony-chan, and I was like, because I didn't understand, why do people love this story so much? This was very early in my foray into fan fiction and the world of fan fiction. So I didn't understand why people love this thing because I think it's crap.
People
Doesn't
have
that mean
different
it's
opinions? What?
I know, right?
Jake was basically taking a very honest and relatively objective approach to the review that Amit did when Background Pony Chapter 20 went up. I don't know. Anybody remember Amit?
I remember
I
Amit.
remember Amit.
I remember Alan. Sorry, someone just commented, Alame Degenerate Fedora says, so Matt Baird is the hero here.
Yeah.
Esteem my beans back in the day, but in hindsight is one of the most trollish reviews ever. Amit at Chapter 20 wrote a review about how awesome and amazing this one-shot Background Pony was, and it's a good thing that it didn't have 19 extra chapters.
Yeah, it sounds like Amit.
That does sound like Amit, yeah.
But I think after Jake was making those just asking people, about Background Pony on Pony-chan, a lot of people rushed up to confront's probably not the right word, but to converse with them. And I must go out and state that I don't have a clique. I mean, I got people who, more or less follow my stories in Discord. Noble Jury more or less was like that back in the day, even though Pilot and her lady made that. But I don't sick people after No,
you have very devoted fans who might go to your defense, but you're not asking them to do that.
Yeah.
Right, but it comes across that way because there's quite a devoted circle who will defend me left and right, and a lot of times when I don't deserve it. And I think Jake got a bit of that at first, and then I looked at his stuff and I read a little bit. I think of Under the Luminous Sky, was it? I think
Yes.
I read the first 2 or 3 chapters of that. I just left an objective review, and like an asshole, I didn't finish the rest of it. But I read a little bit, and I made some comments, and I think something in doing that, I think Jake realized I wasn't like a douchebag or something. I don't know.
Yeah, my thing, again, I will be completely wholly honest here. A lot of the things against Background Pony was jealousy, because I was just starting out my fan fiction writing career. And there's this guy that is so popular, and I was butthurt over that because he got all these fans and I didn't. And so, but then once I realized that, holy crap, this guy read my stories, and now it appears he actually knows what he's talking about. And then it was also Pilot that told me, he wrote a big long comment that was like 3 or 4 paragraphs that boiled down to, dude, read Australia. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
And
then,
so you did.
Long story short, I have 2 characters named after me, and I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm hooked.
He started reading Australia, and I was immensely flattered because it's like, I thought I got on the wrong hoof with this guy, and he turned out to be really cool. And now he's reading something I wrote, and apparently he's actually legitimately enjoying it. And at that point in time, I was at the second half of Elgin Biro, which is book 2 of the Australia series. And I think I already told the story to Jake. I was writing a bunch of the story involved at that point. Rainbow Dash is in a place called a Little Meriton Confederacy, and it's like a sort of a futuristic horse world where there's a huge military presence. It's oh, that's right, you've been reading it, Blum. There's a big military presence. It's treating non-equines like Nazis and just doing horrible stuff to maintain order. And I was introducing these military soldiers, like a group of AWOLers who were supposed to be kind of moral good, but I needed the plot to make some of those AWOLers be assholes so that they would contrast with the character of oh god, I'm having a brain fart. Vember's character, Eagle Eye. I was trying to have Eagle Eye join the party. But then when Jake started reading, I looked at what I was writing. I'm like, oh my god, am I becoming James Cameron? Because it's full of military douchebags. And I was like, oh no, Jake is reading, and Jake is an honest to god, hero and fighter for our country. And oh no, I'm going to insult him super bad. And what if I'm actually making a bunch of 2-dimensional, shitlords. And so I completely and utterly reconsidered the plot, and that became an entire book. Book 3 ended better because I decided to do like a Mad World plot thing where I split the group up and brought them back together. And that, and you know, I'm not trying to put the blame on Jake, but if he didn't start reading Australia, probably book 3 would never happen in the way
you're not blaming him. It's just his fault. So
I'm glad that it did, because it's one of my favorite in the franchise, and I'm so quite proud of like 200 chapters of like 6 different story threads and stuff. It's not. I mean, not saying it's best quality, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
So KMCA says thanks, Jake.
Yep.
but Skirts, I can confirm the army is in fact full of douchebags.
Yeah.
So
true, but German level douchebags, I don't know.
So just a quick question. Would those guys be the AWOL team?
Oh, okay, sure. Well, they had Eagle Eye, so it could have been up against the wall team.
oh my!
For those who don't know, Eagle Eye was a character OC by Vimbert, the Unimpressive, you know.
Really?
And also, he happened to be gay.
Appears once in a while.
But he's in a secret chat that I hang out with occasionally with Jake and Pilot, so he's not a complete stranger these days. That epic blog I did in early 2017 about 2011 brought a lot of people together. It was weird. The 2011 Lemur Odyssey thing.
That was a super enjoyable read.
That was a really good read.
If you could load it on your fucking computer.
Yeah, it actually took a few seconds for my computer.
Yeah, so, it takes a bit.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth a read. If anyone in the chat hasn't read it so far, go find Skirts' blog and check out the Lemurific Odyssey blogs, whatever they're called.
I wrote it back in January or February or something.
The Nostalgia blog, yeah, that's the one.
And after that, there's like a Google link to a version without the pick spam, so it might be more readable.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, you were both talking about Pony-chan because, well, obviously you were both there. And I was discussing the state of, well, the fandom in general with Monochromatic recently, actually. And it's weird how the both the fanfiction side of things and the fandom in general has evolved over the years. So, because we were discussing how there aren't so many mega massive huge success stories like My Little Dashi, Past Sins, you know, they're cupcakes. They're things that literally everyone has heard about and like 8 out of 10 people have read and all that sort of thing. And I'm of the opinion that it's entirely because of the landscape of the fandom that has changed over the years for both the better and the worse. Like, yeah, it's highly unlikely that someone's going to publish the next Past Sins in the next couple of days, but that's because back in the day, like 2011, whatever it was, anything being created by anyone was just, it was regarded with the most holy shit, people are making things kind of attitude.
And I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, is you could write the next Past Sins tomorrow, but it's never going to be as huge as the other ones because there's too much content these days.
There's too much content in the States, but equally so, the standard of the average piece of content, I believe, has gone up.
It absolutely has. I know lots of folks will argue with you, but they're depressed cynics.
Yeah, and it's like there are absolutely awful stories.
You know I'm right.
I think that because I'm guilty of this myself. Like I always said, the first fan fiction I ever read was Silent Ponyville. And for the longest time, that was like I had no interest in fan fiction whatsoever until I saw that on Equestria Daily, and I'm like, okay, hold on, Pink Pie goes to Silent Hill. This can only end in awesome. So I read it, and for the longest time, I thought this was one of the best stories I've ever written. It was so good, blah blah blah. And then about a year ago, I read it again, and I'm like, my God, this is bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think the first fanfic I ever read was I Ain't Got No Accent by Connor Cogworth.
I remember that one.
Connor Cogworth, yeah.
Yeah, he actually uploaded it to Fanfic and I think cleaned it up a bit. Like, it's still really, like,
Not
Pretty
amazing.
generic story, but it's actually pretty solid. It still holds up well.
Yeah, fair enough.
A lot
It's
of stuff doesn't, but certainly.
Yeah, for the most part, if you read one of the quote-unquote classic fics from back in the day, it's generally going to be mediocre at best. Like, there are some stories, like, I still think that It's a Dangerous Business Going Out Your Door is definitely a better than average story. I think.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, all the rest are mediocre to poor, generally.
Yeah.
And a lot of the others.
You hear that, Rob?
Rob, Rob will be shocked that I'm calling it mediocre. He's no, it's worse.
Rob is like the biggest critic of that story out of anybody.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely.
Well, there's a big.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
There's a lot of comments in like the Fallout Equestria world of whether or not one of the newer stories is actually better than the original.
I think
the original, let's face facts, I wouldn't have made it through if it hadn't been read in an audiobook. But like, there are people who claim like.
There are
insert. Wanderer D says, "Tell Plum to shut up his mouth. The empty room was awesome, and MLD is MLD."
Oh yeah.
He would join us, but he has his little kid with him, so he can't. And the kid is apparently too distracted to come say hello.
And of course, the Wanderer D experiment was also amazing. Of course.
Yes.
I could go on a long diatribe about Silent Ponyville. And
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Here's the thing: we'll do that next time you're on the stream. We'll make it the entire stream. That'll be great.
Yeah.
What, 3 years from now?
Yeah.
So, what were other people's first fics?
My first fic, I don't remember the name of it, but I remember thinking it was the shit back in the day because.
Remember what it was about?
It was about. The idea that there were the elements of harmony, which were mares, which were Celestia's elements, Celestia's angels, if you will. But there were also the elements of something else, which were all stallions, which were lunas. And
I remember this story. I remember this where like I remember like it was Big Mac and it was I can't remember that one. But I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
where
there was like a doctor as well, and like
it started off as like a story about a stallion with no name that like needed like
looking back on it,
help
it was
or something.
Eggiest shit because he was a Pegasus who'd had his wings cut off for doing like because people blamed him for a murder or something like that. And the first story ended with him like getting angel wings through the power of the element and all that sort of thing. I thought it was great at the time.
Yeah.
But it's looking back, it's fucking awful. And there was a second story where they were like they started being shipped with the main 6 because they're supposed to be like equals, and like the idea was the elements would deal with like massive things, and the stallions would deal with like protecting the elements of harmony and all that sort of thing. So it's like paired off like that. I'm glad you remember this, Jake, because you're the only fucking person I found who remembers this fucking thing.
I think I might still have it on my favorites list, man. Or no, it may only be on G-Docs. That's how long I've been in this area of the fandom. Is that I remember back when FimFiction was a novelty. People were like, "Oh, that website, whatever. Put it on G-Docs, then people will read it."
G-Docs and DeviantArt text posts.
Well, G-Docs was how you would link it in Equestria Daily, and that was the only place to really put it. And that's all I knew about. When FimFic began, I was like, "Oh, they have like a sort of like an operating system for this." Sure. I opened like I made an account, and I was so pretentious. I was like, "Oh, they'll get the updates into Ponies a month after I put on the Equestria Daily." And it's so weird looking back in hindsight because I think the first or maybe the second thing uploaded my story is like a crack shot that I wrote 5 a.m. in the morning called I wrote this at 5 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. Literally, that's the title. And it has like this creepypasta like pic of a cat with a human mask on as like the cover. I didn't give 2 shits. And I wrote that the morning before MegaCon 2012. And I think I came home and I'm like, "What's this? A feature bar? Oh, my story's on it. Whatever. What is that?" And I didn't know what that was about.
KMCA 779 mentions Tales of the Winter Academy. I remember that fic.
Oh, I remember that fic.
Yeah, apparently it's
I think I remember the cover art to that.
Yeah. But yeah, what I was saying
what was the story with the magic tournament where Twilight was against Trixie in the end?
Okay, I was about to mention that because that's one of the first stories I remember actually reading. It's of Mares and Magic. I brought it up here by Gannon FLCL. Because I was a bit of a Twixie fan, and you're right, Jake. It ended in like a Magic tournament. The thing I take away from that story, and I have to admit,
he changed the ending, didn't he?
Yeah. So it ended with kind of like a really interesting setup of, I mean, it's an old fic, so whatever. Trixie basically convinced Twilight that Trixie was done with her and that their relationship was not to be. And then it reveals in like a sleight of hand that yes, Trixie actually still has feelings for Twilight, but she determined that Twilight's better on her own. But then
there was backlash.
I read it after the fact, in maybe like August of 2011 or something. So I saw when the quote-unquote epilogue was put up, and the complete, utter, like, reversal bullshit, like, changed that. Like, it could just as well have been, you know, my planet needs me, I must go. But no, it's everything that was set up.
You the whole time, and I realized we're better together.
For the sake of making, the fans happy. And what I took away from that is that always write what you want and what you believe in, and you know, if people dislike it, fuck it, you know. And I remember it, and that always comes up because when I came up with the ending to Background Pony, which a lot of people think I did later, and it was about the first week of planning Background Pony that I came up with the ending. I was thinking to myself, that would be very interesting, and like a relatively unhappy ending that a lot of people would not like. And I thought, like, well, remember again an FLCL story where he did like a change at the last second, like, fuck it, I'm not doing that. I actually have that's my takeaway from that. It was a good story, but that
ending U-turn was definitely a thing that took
kids have confidence in your stories. Don't take away from yourself.
If we're going to talk about old stories, there's one that I still maintain is one of my favorite in the franchise or in Pony fan fiction. That's anyone else read It Takes a Village?
Yes! Oh God, I love that story. I go back and reread it all the time.
Yeah, that story cemented the Spike grows up story. Like every other story about Spike growing up is measured against that one.
It is literally the best Spike episode he's never had. If anyone wants to write Spike, I just go to Detta Manfred. I think that was the author's name.
Yeah, Detta Manfred.
And go read It Takes a Village, because it's the most fantastic, both Spike story, coming of age story, like it's like an evolution of relationships, and it's an exploration of all sorts of things. It's great, fucking fantastic story.
The only complaint I had is that at the very last chapter, and Skirts is probably going to say he loved this back or whatever, is that at the very last chapter, it threw in Apple Dash for no reason whatsoever. like with those two characters never interacted the entire story, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're together.
So that was the birth of your rage, I take it. I've actually not read that story, but now I think I will.
It's worth checking out, Skirts. It really is.
If only to find out what the fuck is that splooge in Spike's hand on the cover art.
Oh dear.
All right, what was your first pick?
My Little Dashie.
Well, that was your first pony fic. Your first fic was probably some Simpsons fucking thing 30-odd years ago. So
yeah, obviously. I figured that was a given.
Yeah.
Link and Zelda in the garden.
Oh dear. But yes, Propsmaster is saying It Takes the Village was their first pick. And C Squared has deigned to join us.
Finally.
Her Majesty has descended from the heavens.
You have to give up your position now, Plum.
Yeah, apparently.
C Squared.
Yeah. Nobody knows
C Squared. Bullshit. C Squared is a myth.
Exactly.
Dead to the world.
I know you. I danced with you once upon a podcast.
Oh dear. But yes,
the old memes.
The old memes, they're coming back hard with the dead people. What we were originally talking about was the way the fandoms evolved, because like the standard of quality in the stories nowadays is actually really high compared with what it was. Like there are some fantastic ones from back in the day, but the average story now is much better written than the average story back then. And part of that's because of the way the landscape has changed. Like,
you can say that, Plum, but at the same time, is there not right now another displaced story at the top of the box in FinFiction?
Quite possibly.
It's still well written.
But that said, do you not remember, what was it? There was that story where, well, first of all, dying into Equestria was a huge trend back in the day. There was a story where someone died into Equestria. Was it My Second Life or something like that? Where someone died into Equestria and dated Twilight Sparkle, and their friends died into it as well.
It just all went on for ages, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's just So
isn't that the one with the cover art where they're getting married?
Yeah, something like that.
It was in the feature box all the time.
It was. The landscape has changed because now you've got all these fucking review groups and help groups and all this sort of thing, like the writers group and authors helping authors and all that sort of thing where you go and help people out.
There's also the fact that FinFiction has a minimum standard to get on it.
It's true.
And that's basically the place for stories these days.
The horse fiction place.
Come on, look, no offense to Plum. I mean this, you know I love you, Plum. But the standard for getting on FinFic, if you've seen some of the shit in the box, is pretty low.
It's true.
It's basically can you string a sentence together.
Here's the thing. Back before auto-approval was a thing, I failed, on average, 60 to 70% of the stories I read. So the things you see on the front page that are awful about displaced characters turning into jets and bombing the Russians, and there's also a pony in the background, that is the top 30% of fiction.
Yeah, Dee backs this up and says really that's the minimum.
Yeah. But yeah, so like you've got all these, if you need help nowadays and you're a writer, you can go to the writers group, authors helping authors, looking for editors, the pre-reader group, all these other things. There are people out there ready and willing to help you. Back in the day, your only choice to get a review was to go to Pony-chan and
hope somebody noticed.
And find a thread by someone like Detritus or Vimbert the Unimpressive
or Cassius.
Yeah,
that's
Cassius.
how I started.
Yeah, and then you give them a link to your Google Doc story
and hope that they're not too cruel.
You pray that all they do is tear you a new asshole.
Well, actually, kind of want them to be cruel, or else you
want like
not too cruel.
You want them to be honest, but you don't want them to be like this is garbage. Stop writing.
Yeah, you want them to be.
Who was the guy that pretended to be Richard Nixon?
God knows.
I don't know.
Whoever that guy was, whoever that guy was, saw one of the first volumes of my story and literally said, "Quit writing and kill yourself, faggot."
Yeah, that's the Pony-chan experience, basically.
Well, I missed it now.
Yeah, it's nostalgic.
I know people wonder why I never really got into Pony-chan.
Yeah,
and that pretty much sets it up.
Yeah, but like
Pony-chan even still exists.
Yes, it
Yeah,
has all reels now.
Not in the same capacity that it did.
No, but there are one or two pre-readers who, if they do in-depth reviews for someone because they really want to see the fic succeed, and they have, especially this is the main thing, if they have the time, will post stuff to Pony-chan because it's relatively underviewed.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So no, Pony-chan is absolutely still around.
It's around. It's just nowhere near as big a thing as it was. Because back in the day, that was your only option to get feedback, other than EQD comments, which are holy fuck, those are awful, or DeviantArt comments, which are even worse. Like
even past,
worse than EQD.
Even past fan fiction, that was the only place you could go to get images, to get rumors on the story, because this is before Derby Boru, and this was in the early days when no one really trusted Equestria Daily. So Pony-chan was pretty much it, man.
Pony-chan or EQD were your two places to go ever.
There was also Derpy Hooves Network.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow,
is that still around?
I don't know.
I think it is.
For whatever reason, I fell in with EQD more than I did DHN. Like I was aware of both of them, but I just ended up on EQD more.
I was vaguely aware of Derpy Hooves Network as a thing, but I don't think I ever spent more than 5 minutes on it. I don't know why. I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Didn't click again.
Okay, but can we all agree? We all remember Everfree Radio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Everfree Radio is still around.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I know for a fact that
Perhaps still a douchebag.
Yeah, probably.
Let's not bring his name up, please.
Yeah.
I had to deal with enough crap.
Yeah.
He tried to ingratiate himself with EQD at one point, so there was enough salt.
Oh boy. What is it with some fucking random sites and trying to like take over big sites? Like,
the
fucking story.
Because they want to be king of shit hill.
Yeah. Arch can tell you stories about people trying to take over Derpy Bureau.
I fucking can't remember the name of it. They
call
themselves a super community.
Yeah, like MLP forums and a couple of other things in one giant Ponyverse. That's the group.
Ponyverse.
And they went up to Arch and said, "Hey, can we take you over?" And Derpy Bureau
essentially they wanted to take over Derpy Bureau. They wanted us to hand over the database of all of the users and all of the images. And what would we get out of it in return? Well, you'd be part of our super community. You would lose all of your identity and would have no control over the future or direction of anything anymore. But you would be part of our super community.
One of us.
And then when he said no, they basically said, "Okay, well, can you give us your archives?"
Basically, yes.
That's
dear.
Yeah. Some people are strange. But yeah, so it's a different writing landscape than what it was back in the day, but it's still pretty good. There's some good shit out there.
It is, and like you said, Plum, it has improved greatly, and I think that's to the benefit of the fandom is that we have so many people now that are willing to say, "Hey, we have enough talented authors that they will say, hey, we will help you out."
Yeah.
The problem is not everyone wants to listen.
It's not just like the fanfiction community either, because back in the day, like the first things I ever saw that were horse related outside of 4chan were YouTube pony music video and YouTube typographies and stuff like that. And
pony music videos was how I got into pony.
Yeah,
Madden.
And John. Yep. Football.
Jordan.
Yeah, and like I was talking to Monochromatic, and the thing that I brought up. There comes another Chinese earthquake. And the video I brought up, it was the hottest shit back in the day, was Rainbow Dash lip synced, quote unquote, to You're Gonna Go Far Kid, but sped up.
Yo, I remember that.
Yeah, everyone from that period remembers that thing, and it's got like 26 million views.
I never saw that.
KMCA's argument is that the writers and readers have gotten older and that the average age of the community has aged. And I'm not entirely sure how much I believe that. There are definitely a lot of older people in the fandom, but the average age of the community is still pretty young.
It's still about 17, 18.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it was when it started, so I don't think it's actually changed.
Yeah.
I would argue
tell me about it.
I feel
as time has gone by.
Yeah.
As time has gone by, I feel like the standard for output is kind of like gone low. I mean, I'm not the EOP guy from 2011. I'm decent at doing like dailies, but as much as I wish to like get back the old stamina and be like on a podcast, oh, look under your chair, and some of these like 6, bite-sized chapters of Apple Dashery Volume 2. I just don't have that anymore,
Yeah.
All I know is if I did the thing today that I did when I started out writing, I wouldn't have got any followers today.
Yeah, it's
the expectation from people is a lot higher.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that, and I say this with a little bit of reserve, is that the intensity has gone down. Like
in a way,
level of excitement.
Back in the early days of the fandom, people were just fucking amazed by the fact that there was horse videos and there are horse stories. Like the You're Gonna Go Far Kid with sped up vocals thing that I mentioned. It's shit. It's really shit. But like, I remember being back in the day, I'd put this on repeat and it was the fucking coolest thing.
Yep.
Like, if you look at anything in the EQD post nowadays, if you dare to tread on an EQD where the ferret lives, yeah.
I don't bite unless you ask really, really nicely and pay me.
But like, if you look at anything in any of the PMV things that they post nowadays, the quality of them is spectacular.
Oh yeah.
Compared with what we had in the early days, where people just kind of loosely lip synced things to music.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because they have more material to deal with. Back then, we only had season 1, and
that's true.
Now, even detached from it, looking back, like season 1 was so innocent and pure. Like, it was so. It was not so much
it fucking wasn't. It started on 4chan. There was just as much porn.
True. Yeah.
I love you, but saying that the season 1 was innocent and pure is just no.
What I meant to say, Ferret.
Yes, Jay.
What I meant to say was that it was simpler, as in the animation and stuff wasn't as spectacular as it is now, so you had less to work with.
Well, kind of, but there's also the fact that most of the stuff nowadays on EQD or on, if you follow like Jake Wyman or anything like that, most of the stuff they do is like custom animation with their own models and entire things. Like, I remember last year there were a couple of collaborations between people where they basically redid the Doors short movie from back in the day, where a character runs from right to left through various doors, and each time it's a different locale and crazy things are happening. And that was entirely custom animated by dozens of different people. You didn't have that back in the day. Back in the day, you had like 6 different music people. There was like Mike the Microphone, Wooden Toaster, Odyssey Eurobeat, Jackal App, and maybe like a couple of others like Pinkie Pie Swear, and they were all you fucking got. You like Pinkie Pie Swear, or you've got nothing. And it's the same with basically everything else, you know? Nowadays, you've got fucking bajillions of people who do these pony animations, and all of them using custom animations and transitions.
There's literally an album coming out that's got something like 130 tracks.
Mando Pony and Acoustic Pony as well, yeah. And like, what was it? I remember watching Pony the Anthology. The latest one, when there was a segment in Ponies the Anthology where they were making fun of the MLG community with like Trixie, where they had like bars that were like adding dankness, and Trixie would put on sunglasses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Photoshopping sunsets into the background and all that sort of thing. And I was like, well, first of all, this is fucking funny because it's parodying MLG, which is super cool. But like, this level of animation would have fucking blown my mind 4 years ago. Aviators, yeah, I remember Aviators.
Yeah, they were cool.
Modern Hearts is a surprisingly good song. I like that one.
KMC argues that we had more creativity back in the day and people were free to explore more ideas, and I'm not sure I really agree with that, because I feel like nowadays there's even more ideas to explore. We have even more story ideas. We have even more options. There are more characters. Like, to say that there is less creativity now, I think is really inaccurate. Like, if you actually sat down and crunched the numbers.
It's not that we have less creativity. It's that people have grown, I don't want to say cynical, but more of...
I think, like, I know what you're saying, Jake, and you've frozen, so I'm just butting in here because I think
Internet Explorer has failed us.
Yeah, I think like there was a spark.
Back then, you had all this cool stuff, but now it's just, it's the hipster thing.
Well, I think it's like, welcome back, Jake. Like there was definitely like an urgent energy in the early days of the fandom where people were so fucking amazed that this was actually happening and that there were people.
I'll tell you what it's like, if you don't mind me butting in on top of you. It's like the Renaissance.
Kind of.
No, not kind of. It's like the Renaissance.
Yeah, legitimately.
You see, because what happened is you had a whole bunch of people who came along and said, you know what, fuck your rules. I'm going to draw Pinkie Pie doing things. And I'm going to write stories about her. And it's like, when the
and then other people went, holy shit, you like that too?
Yeah, when the Renaissance first kicked off, there was this incredible outpouring of incredibly bad art. And
really is. Look in the history books.
Music and political ranting and all kinds of stuff like that. All these really badly carved statues that were all all that kind of stuff. But what they did was they established a new sort of standard. Well, isn't it standard?
Well, a new style too.
A new feeling, a new idea, a new paradigm.
I'm gonna drop Pinkie Pie, says
Just like Michelangelo.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's made that art. Some famous Renaissance painter doing ponies.
Yeah, no, I'm cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Something else to keep in mind about from like a writing perspective is that there was a lot of excitement back in the old days, and 2011, 2012, because there was so little substance to work on, but there was such a great obsession over it. Most of the fics that were written back in the day are essentially alternate universe stuff because there was no canon. It was so bare. I think that might be where Jake is coming from when Jake says like it's so innocent. There was not a lot of substance. It was very paper thin, but it was just very happy. So that either had people who were going into the happiness and making like saccharine stuff like My Little Dashie, or people start having like a knee-jerk reaction and making god-awful Holocaust like cupcakes, I think it also works with new fiction, with like the new seasons that have come out, new characters introduced. I love Equestria Girls. I love like season 4, 5, and 6 because it gives us so much more to work with, but it also gets so convoluted and like the audience has so much stuff to parse through that's a little bit difficult to find little nuggets to be as excited about as it was back in the day. You had to work harder back in the day.
I'm not sure.
It's a circuit of information thing.
True. I'm not sure that's true, Skirts, because again, every time an episode comes out, there's always that one or two little aspects like throwaway lines, or background thing, and people go, "Wow, let's build on this. What would this be?"
Yeah, I'm saying there's that too. It's a different thing.
It's a different kind of thing. Where back in the day, we had a small, concise thing where horses do this. Horses go to a gala, and the gala's cool.
X does Y.
Yeah, X does Y. But you had an amazing amount of like free space to go from that. Like let's have it so that there's a second set of elements that are all males, and we defend the elements of harmony or whatever. Nowadays, you can't really have that quite as much because some of the world building has been expanded upon, in that we know that there's not a second set of elements of harmony for stallions. But
season 1 has like Zecora appear, and then you have entire stories about zebras. Season 4 says, Twilight hates quesadillas, and then you have like a feature bait fic about quesadillas attacking Twilight in her dreams,
Wow.
Oh man, there's an old fic that I reread once in a while called For the Love of Mannequin Food. And it's literally Twilight is really craving tacos and like spazzes out.
Nice.
And he's just going insane trying to find tacos until somebody's like, wait, I have a cookbook of mannequin food. Let's find it. And they make tacos and then she's happy. And like, it's so dumb and old, but I love it just for the nostalgia value.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like there is that Skirts, but equally so, like when the Griffinstone episode came out, there was a great upsurge of stories revolving around griffins, like the king who lost his scepter or whatever it was. King Guto. And it's like that. Like every episode that comes out, it kind of limits what's come before it, but it also gives new potential. It mentions new things, so it's a different landscape.
Yeah, it's different.
It also forces writers who have been working with one set of ideas to be a lot more creative about how they use those ideas, like the whole Griffin thing. Griffinstone is and is not the entirety of the Griffin kingdom, their world. I mean, you could say, oh, it's just an outpost town. Oh, it's an independent place. Oh, it's everything that they are. It's like it forces people to be a lot more creative about how they express, how they
work the new information in. They've got to connect the dots.
But I don't want to toot my own horn, but in my fics, I had already kind of anticipated this happening by having the Griffins be a confederation of independent kingdoms. So I get around that. I'm clever.
Well, no, you think about you think back to season 1, and any time there was a time where ponies needed an enemy, it was the Griffins, and that all came from one episode where one Griffin was a bitch.
Yeah.
And that one bitch painted the entire species.
And And since
in other words,
then,
racism.
and zebras were always lived in far off lands, and they're all very shamanistic and all this sort of thing. And
You're talking rhyme.
yeah, you had a very little, you had a small nugget of information, and people extrapolated wild and weird things from it. Whereas nowadays we've got a bit more information, so people can go in different directions. You know,
how lucky, how fucking lucky of a stallion was Big Mac in season 1?
Yeah,
you know, fanfic wise.
Oh God!
It was him.
Big Mac.
It was him and the Prince.
Caramel.
Caramel.
It was Caramel season 2.
He was in season 1.
Yeah.
Caramel lost like grass seeds again.
Yeah. And it's like him,
Yeah,
and Blue.
Big Mac was the designated man whore, and then Spike was the designated stand-in, like insert.
With 2 penises.
And then there was Prince Blueblood. He was the asshole.
Yeah. That said, we do love some of the Prince Blueblood stories. We love you, Captain Chrysalid. You're amazing.
Yeah.
Come back. Oh dear. I do hope he's
if he's a BronyCon, I'm going this year. I'm going to corner him. I'm going to sit him down. I'm going to make him right.
You're going to do a ferret, eh?
Yes. Only I'm bigger than she is, so it'll be even more effective.
Yeah. We miss you, Captain.
How many of y'all are doing the BronyCon thing?
I'm doing the BronyCon thing. Yeah.
No.
Really? Baltimore's not that far. Baltimore, whatever.
Do it, dude. I'm fucking down.
You need to do the BronyCon thing.
I can't do the BronyCon thing.
Why not?
No money and no wings.
Dude, we can help with money. We can do that. I'm willing to pledge to a Get Skirts to Patreon, Get Skirts to Baltimore Patreon.
To do what? To just sweat with people? I mean,
dude, it's
got all the That's better.
Who the fuck? Nobody fucking cares about BronyCon itself. Let's be frank here. The reason people go to BronyCon is because everyone else is at BronyCon, and we can all get drunk and go to Tirnan. Oh, God.
I don't drink. See, I'm a stick in
come to Tirnan and have crab cakes, and we'll get drunk around you. Yeah.
Have mediocre crab cakes.
Come and laugh at all the drunk people.
Yeah, GoFundMeester all over again. Here we go.
You're all too kind, but I don't think it's my thing.
Dude, let's fucking do it. Let's do it. I'm doing this. With or without opposition.
And if he doesn't accept it, I'll have it.
Yeah.
If he doesn't accept it, we'll split the money amongst us.
Yeah.
So either way, we either get skirts or we get beer money.
Yeah,
either way, we win.
Yeah.
Lots of beer money.
Lots of beer money.
Speaking of booze, I'll be right back. I need a drink.
It's cool.
Am I the only one drinking non-alcoholic stuff right now?
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know what I'm drinking.
Ferret's probably being non-alcoholic at the moment, but yeah.
Probably.
Also, C-Squared, have you said words yet? We need you to speak.
I have.
You have said words. Okay, we've just been drowning you out. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad to see that your surroundings have not changed in the 3 years since you were last on the podcast.
That's good. I'm just if you remember them.
I mean, it's the 2 things I distinctly remember from that cast are the background and your cankles. So your ladylike cankles.
It's because the barbarians killed a settler, so it can't move.
Oh, living the dream.
Living the Dream is the name of it. That was the name of the story where someone died into Equestria and married Twilight.
And, yeah. Oh, Ferret gone.
Ferret.
Goodbye,
Ferret. I'm sure she'll be back in a moment.
The podcast can't handle this many women.
Yeah, there can only be one. Oh, dear. Gamma Huff, there's 2 liters of Dr. Pepper. Gamma Huff is confirmed for a skirt salt again.
Is now a good time for an anecdote?
Go for it.
Always.
Okay. I'm an asshole who never responds to PMs unless it's something super crazy simple, like, hey, can I translate this thing into, like, Chewbaccan? All right, sure, whatever. I had a message. I mean, every now and then I get really heartfelt messages. I guess being number 2 being shit on FimFic has that quality about it. And someone messaged Imploding Cullen, of all people, and basically saying, hey, I've only known English for like 3 years. I want to let you know that I used to live in Russia, and I wanted to read a lot of pony literature, and I started with like background pony and like your stuff on FimFic, and it was like a crazy task, uphill battle, but I was able to finally learn English and read a bunch of stuff, and now I actually have a programming job in Ireland, so I was able to basically escape Russia because of you. So thanks.
Dude,
Wow.
that's pretty fucking legit. Escaping Russia is to be recommended generally, so yeah, that's pretty fucking awesome.
Congratulations, Chris. I think you're the first fan fiction author that's changed lives.
I think I've had
First to change lives for the better. Let's clarify.
Okay.
Well, maybe there's more for the worse, for all we know.
Yeah.
Reality checks aren't around anymore, so.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Oh God, reality check. Don't bring him up.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You sure? You sure you don't want?
Here we
You don't want to
go.
hear a story?
I could rant about that
boy.
douchebag for hours, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
For the record, I had nothing personally to do with his ousting because his last moments on FimFic and did involve a story that I wrote.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He did a recursive piece of fan fiction based on a Starlight Glimmer fic that I wrote.
A fiction.
Yeah, and I personally didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the story, excuse me, but I thought he was passionate about it, and I can see how some people could enjoy it, but I didn't like report him or send anybody after him or anything. It was something between him and the pre-readers that led to his eventual stepping down.
I believe he still logs on every other week. But
but he doesn't have his stories out.
You got to check, aren't you? You got to check.
Wanderer D says, "Damn, I almost want to jump right in right now, ye gods." But yes, let's back away from reality check.
Sorry.
He's dead and gone and on archive of our own or whatever that fucking site is.
I tried using that site recently.
So you've gotten it. It's an invite only thing, isn't it?
What is?
Yeah,
archive of our own.
I had an invite. I think I had an invite from someone.
It's FimFic for hipsters.
I got on archive of our own.
It's terrible.
It doesn't look
really
great. It reminds me of it's like a more
really
elitist fanfiction.net.
Like you can read words, but there's no anything else.
Yeah. Oh, you apply. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
That makes sense.
As someone who has not applied, I was not aware. But yeah.
Well, where else are you going to post your 5 million word epic? Well, come on.
I need to repost my cover version of the Subspace Emissary.
Oh, we now have
Jake's
two.
We have two Jakes.
Two Jakes.
Jakes have been doubled.
Oh,
Jake, I'm back now.
Unless you have two Jakes.
which is the real one.
Hey, y'all can handle two Jakes. You can look. The world can barely handle one of me. I don't think we need a second one.
This keeps trying to kill you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's true enough. Oh, dearie me.
So Jake.
Yes, going with Jake.
Jake, tell us about your competition.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yes. Well, I decided that not enough people were talking about me, and because I'm an insecure little prick, I decided I need to do something about that.
Oh, does that really work?
Ooh.
That being said, I decided to start. Actually, it's more of that I've decided that because I have a really hard time writing these days, but I want to create more fan fiction. So maybe I can inspire others to do so. I started that by starting a contest called Jake's Horse Words Extravaganza. And I'm honestly thinking of making it a monthly thing, but for right now, the contest is about obscure shipping, which is a fancy way of saying crack shipping. So yes, that's going on right now. But before you think about entering, know that someone has already written a Tom and Boulder clock fic, and it will probably win.
At this point, that quote unquote crack ship is so common. It's basically not a crack ship anymore. You know, like
That's true.
Tom and Boulder.
Tom and Boulder, or Tom and Bloomberg, as it was back in the day.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. But yes, like As Arch and I can both attest, as people who have run monthly competitions before, it can get quite intensive. So I would not advise doing a monthly thing, but bringing the competition back with other zany prompts or something like that in the future would be pretty chill. I'd be okay with this.
It would be awesome, yeah. I mean, I've been trying to enter this one, but the thing I've been writing is not, well, it's not happened.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do any work. Someone emailed me today and asked me if they could do Starlight Glimmer and the Cutie map.
Nice. Nice.
So whatever you're thinking couldn't be any worse.
When's the due date for that thing again?
July 3rd, July 1st.
Okay.
July 1st. Okay.
And I think I've asked you this before, but is Derpy and Doctor Who's considered too canon?
No, they've only had one episode together. That's all been fanon, so I'll accept it.
And that was more like Doc Brown than Doctor, Who. So
I'll probably write it the very last day of the contest, like I did with Monochromatic Story.
Doc Martin X Derpy.
yeah.
Fucking Doc Martin.
Where
Derpy
Derpy has a shoe fetish.
Dude, no, not that Doc Martin. God damn it. Doc Martin, the doctor, who's an asshole.
These guys won't know about it.
Yeah, it's a British thing. It's a British thing.
It's basically a prefigured house.
Doctor Who is a world thing. Who doesn't know about Doctor Who?
Not Doctor Who, Doc Martin.
Don't get all whiny on us now.
Doc Martin.
No, we're talking about a TV show with what's his face? Oh,
I don't know what his name is, but he's
it sounds like it's not Styles. It's fucking. I'm gonna look this up now.
Yeah,
but it kind of prefigured House because it had a doctor.
Kind of.
Asshole.
It's the thing that inspired House, basically. It's a story about a small English village where there's full of farmers and like a small school and that sort of thing. And there's a doctor who lives there who runs
Martin Clunes.
Martin Clunes, of course.
I like Martin Clunes.
This guy is a massive asshole. There's the Wikipedia.
He
an
big city
antisocial prick.
Forced to live in a little village in the middle of nowhere.
He hates living
country
there.
Practice, basically.
He hates
So
being,
basically,
being a doctor to
it's hot fuzz with doctors. It's hot fuzz with doctors.
Yeah.
I mean,
yet another thing that the Americans ripped off, aside from Steptoe and Son.
Yeah. So basically, what you do is you take Hot Fuzz, right, and you take I forgot the name of it. Father Ted.
Father Ted, yes.
And House.
Father
and you
Ted
put them in a blender, and Doc Martin comes out.
Yeah, right up until the point where it became a sort of like romance thing between him and the school teacher lady, and there's like,
oh yeah, okay. I mean, he's married, but you know what? Fuck that. Let's just.
It is. No, thanks.
You sound like your dogs.
I sound like fucking. I wish they were here. Fucking puppers. But yes, Father Ted is also great. Father Ted is amazing. Doc Martin is like if Reality Check was a doctor in Cornwall. Do you know what?
Yeah.
You're not that wrong. It's fucking great, that show. I recommend it. But yes, what were we talking about before?
Jake's competition.
Jake's competition, right. So anyone who writes false words, think of weird shipping things and go send them to Jake and he'll read them properly. So
yes, there is a cash prize involved. With the more people involved, the higher the prize gets.
Yeah. That's why I want to get in on it. Even though I know I won't win.
Of course, and I'll list some prizes. First prize is a cash prize, depending on how many people are there.
Mm-hmm.
The second prize is I will commission Present Perfect to review your story, which that's a good thing. Yeah. And third prize is really cool. Third prize is Pasco White has agreed to help you with your story, be it pre-reading or whatever.
That's pretty legit. Pasco knows his shit.
Yeah.
He's another one. He's another one of the Pony-chan people, isn't he, Pasco?
He is.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We need to get him back on the stream sometime.
And fourth prize is I show up at your place in my underwear and do a special dance for you.
Oh boy. Oh dear me.
Jake, they're a ladies' present.
Sorry, C squared.
Oh dear, oh dear. So,
oh dear indeed.
So that's the competition.
That is the competition.
Yes, and I hope many people enter it, and it will be a lot of fun. The judges are myself.
So
What's up?
How many have entered so far? So far,
I think there's been about 6 or 7, somewhere around there.
That's pretty decent.
That's not so bad, really. I mean, I joined the group and I've been watching stories pop in every so often, so it's like that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Prop Master is entering for the 4th place prize, and KMCA points out that if he got 4th place, there is a jail 1 block away from his house. Here we go.
You can't jail this kind of sexy man.
He can't, you know? Oh, dearie me.
I've entered like maybe I think 4 or 5 contests. I never get first place. It's probably because in the end my writing sucks. But another part of it is I think that people review it and they have like editors and stuff and like, wow, the story is really really awesome. But he is short skirts and explosion. So 2nd place.
Oh dear.
You have received enough accolades. You don't need any more praise. Damn it.
And yet, tell everyone that okay, we've got a message from Mr. Rob Cakran, 53. He says, tell everyone they smell funny, and tell Skirt that Hawkeye x Margaret is the best ship.
Hawkeye.
I kind of like Hawkeye and no, I think I kind of like Margaret and Winchester, except for the times that it got awkward, which I guess was all the times.
Wait, Winchester?
Yeah.
Are we talking Winchester from MASH?
I hope so.
Just making sure.
Also, people are
because I was getting confused with the Hawkeyes.
That Appledashery has gained 6 chapters since this stream has started.
Nobody reads Appledashery.
Nobody, according to Epcot, nobody reads Appledashery. What else did Rob say? Rob says everyone shit talks MLD. Tell Skirts that. K thanks. We mentioned you, Robs. Your story is shit, and I told him about the Hawkeye. Well done. Job accomplished.
Yes.
The few times I've talked to Rob and he's been sober, he's really, really awesome. So I have nothing but
super chill.
He's a cool guy.
Rob is a super chill dude.
Film.
Yeah. Dude, you were talking earlier, Skirt, about how you and Jake met. Like, you got off on a sort of confrontational foot, and then
I wouldn't say confrontational. I mean, he just objected to the style of Background Pony. And
your first meeting was Jake saying, "Why do people like this? This is shit."
But it turned out awesome, and I'm very flattered that he ended up reading it in Australia.
Yeah, it did. That's the thing. It started out on a bit of a confrontational note.
Abrasive. Let's say abrasive.
Yeah, abrasive. We'll go with that. And then later on, you both discovered that actually the other person's actually kind of cool, and you're happy to talk to each other. And like that's a general story with people actually taking the time to get to know each other. Like BronyCon is fantastic for this, as I've told the story many times. Bad Horse walked up to me on the 2nd day of BronyCon and said, "I just realized I looked you up and I'm not supposed to like you," which I still find fucking funny to this day. But like in general, if you get the chance to chat with someone who is an author or a reviewer or whatever, 9 times out of 10 they actually turn out to be a pretty cool dude, even if they're an asshole. And they say, "Why is your story so popular, you asshole?"
Yes.
They're just
we started off as adversaries, and now we trade pictures of femboys and Disney princesses.
Yeah. I'm surprised there's not a channel for that.
I want in on this.
Yeah. There we go.
All you gotta do is this. Ask handsome.
just.
Oh dear. Also, Arch, didn't you want to say something about your work that was going on?
Oh yeah, it was basically a thing that sort of was exemplary of the kind of workplace I'm in at the moment. They went down to half the team were down at a conference in London the other week, and as part of that thing, they were giving away. Do you recognize this, Sam?
I do.
Okay.
Oh my God!
Okay.
Mark has become
Here we
cancer.
No, I don't actually play with these. What I'm thinking of doing is giving them to my brother's niece and nephew so that they can annoy him.
Yeah, I was going to say to taunt your brother.
Yeah. But when they got back from the conference, we all came into work that morning, and there was one of these on every single desk. So I grabbed a load, and I'm going to give them to people.
This is the work
So
where.
what I take away from this is Arch is officially MLG 420. Blaze it now.
Yeah, basically, he's quick scoping all units.
Are you wanting to be wrecked?
I'm gonna say something I'll regret. If one of you can find a Disney Princess spinner thingy, then I might consider going to Baltimore.
Dude, I'm looking right now.
All right.
I'm looking
It's
right
on.
now.
I'm looking for
Disney
one.
Princess fidget spinner. Here we go.
Order it. There you go. That was quick.
This could be a depressing photo.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Amazon.com girls pink fidget spinner with Disney Princess assorted stickers featuring Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Oh, an ad popped up. And plus bonus drawstring carry case.
You're not allowed to use the internet.
$9.95.
You have to walk into like a Walgreens and say, "Hey,
fucking Walgreens.
Well, you have
That's all right, we
to
have
go, you have to
equivalents.
go to Canada. You have to walk into a Walgreens.
Oh, I'll go to Tim Hortons while I'm there and get some donuts.
Alan Mace is talking about 3D printing one.
This is oh.
Here we go.
Hello, LMA. Just
LMA, yes.
LMAs. I don't know how to pronounce that. I've
Whatever it is.
been chatting with the guy for like 4 or 5 years now, and I still don't know how to pronounce his name.
I like to say Alamaeus because it sounds more elvish that way, and I'm using it as a name in Ofarodi, so it better be what it sounds like.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Well, there you go.
You're an elf now.
It has been decided for you. Oh, hey, the Barcast have decided to turn up.
I'm reading the Discord chat, and M1 Garand wants to know what if someone writes a Tom Boulder Jake Klopfic?
That would be against
And I will tell you this: if you insert me into a Klopfic, you're probably gonna win. Sadly enough.
Also,
I'm not pathetic.
Rob Cakran is making a princess spinner as we speak, so he can give it to you in person, Skirts.
Oh dear God!
You have unleashed this upon yourself.
Yeah.
What
Also,
week is
stop putting your writing down. Your writing's good.
Yeah, it's true.
Just wanted to say that.
It's true.
Because
It's good shit.
I'm on my
On your 5th beer.
third.
That's usually how many beers it takes for people to like my stories.
I've read your stories sober.
Oh,
On the other
God.
hand, I have also eaten doner kebabs
so
sober, so I'm not sure my judgment's all that
True,
great.
it's true. All the years of kebabs have affected your brain chemistry. That's what it is.
Exactly.
24th says no way in, no way out. Yeah, you can't escape the fidgeting.
Doesn't work.
I like the fact that the Barcast only fucking turned up after I started talking about fidget spinners.
No,
Yeah.
ma'am. No, we don't. We're not trying to kill you, ma'am. No.
Oh my god. Beauty and the Beast inspired fidget spinner with assorted princess decals.
I'm pretty
know.
sure there's a place around the corner from where I work that would actually sell Disney princess fidget spinners. So I'll go and have a look.
Dude, find it.
And
You can't say you didn't ask for this because you literally
it's
did.
all right if you don't turn up. I will
Ask for feminine hygiene products so you'll be less embarrassed.
I've got a wife. I buy that.
Well, open your beard and let us see her.
Christ.
Yeah,
It's my beard.
That's why I shaved my beard, because I knew I could never measure up to him. That's why I shaved.
Beard envy. Here we go. It is
Well,
true.
my hair
It
is long.
is literally true. It is literally. Well, yeah. That's not hard, Jake. That's not hard. But it is literally true that Archer spent time on his job being paid while people are stroking his beard.
Yes,
So...
it is. It is in fact true. I'm also contractually obliged to have jokes made about it. Apparently, but when the fellow told me that, he also said he only got 1 day's holiday every 7 years and a new pair of shoes. So I'm not entirely sure of the veracity of that one.
It's true. Also, I'm pointing out the fact that Arch has a copy of Secret Hitler behind him in front of the pirate ship and under the fan next to the lightning globe, which he will be bringing to BronyCon. So we can make Skirt Hitler. So
yes,
I would love to play.
The Barcast
I would love to play Secret Hitler.
Dude, it's fucking fantastic.
It is hilarious.
It's an amazing game. I was playing it with a few people, including it does have bullets, including Petrichor.
It doesn't have the bullets in the box. No, it has little
the British version of Secret Hitler doesn't come with bullets.
Or if it does, I've lost them. So
yeah, well, one of the two. But dude, like fucking Secret Hitler's an amazing game. The first time Petrichor started playing Secret Hitler, him and I buddied up for the first 3 games, and we were like, "Yeah, we're both liberals. We'll fight these fascists." And every single time, I was Hitler secretly. And every single time, I fucking revealed it at the last possible second, and Petrichor was like, "No, not again. Fuck you."
One of my most flattering moments with the Noble Jury was when we started doing like a Cards Against Humanity online. It was like I guess it was like an Australia themed one, and there was some really relevant shit in that.
Yeah, I love the custom decks you can make for online Cards Against Humanity. Some of them
I remember that one post. Petrichor made the last time I played. There was some seriously crazy shit in that. It was amazing.
Yeah. Petrichor's custom.
I was in it too.
Legit. Yeah, you've got it. You've got
my beard.
Yes, Arconix's beard is a card. It's fucking great.
Yeah, so that's why I liked it, really.
The Barcast posts, if Skirts goes to BronyCon, I will personally buy him a fitted skirt.
I will explode it.
Yeah, but will it be short?
Yeah, well, I'm assuming it would be. So
With or without flame.
It's the Barcast, so...
That's a good point, yeah. It'd be more like a
24th, you absolutely triggered Glim super hard. That was great.
What?
Dude, Secret Hitler is a fantastic game. I love it.
It is.
And we will play it with Skirts if he turns up. You should.
If he does.
Even when. Because you will be turning up. Because we have Disney Princess fidget spinners, and you promised. We've got it on tape.
It would be the last BronyCon ever. It would be all over horse news.
Why even continue at that point? Everything's been accomplished.
Yes.
We've done what we need to do. We can all go home and carry on with our lives without the fear of horses. So
Galloping
in our dreams.
Year 2025, the chase is finally finished.
That's optimistic.
Last chapter is just a series of fart noises.
Can someone explain that to me? I mean, I know I don't give people much.
No, someone cannot explain this to you.
I'll ask props.
As far as I understand it, the long and the short of it is
he likes farts.
No.
Okay.
Also, Rob Cakrin says, I have the tools, junk, and knowledge to build fidget spinners, and posts a photo of his workshop.
You get better bearings in them than these, because these make a really awful noise.
That's true. There are bicycles hanging from the ceiling in that photo, so I think he can find better bearings than that.
Oh, cool.
So he will rip apart many bicycles to get this fidget spinner for you, Skirts.
It'll be a very big one.
Bell bearings. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go.
Then.
Anybody have any questions?
Nobody has any fucking questions. Everyone's talking about fidget spinners and Secret Hitler.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I mean,
bring the conversation around.
Yeah. I have questions. Question.
I have many questions.
When will Rainbow Dash stop flying?
Ooh.
So, are we talking about Australia then?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
So a lot of people, I've come to the conundrum or the impasse where, you know, it's the story started out as like experimental bullshit. You know, just trying to write something every day and make sense out of it over time. And I've enjoyed it. And in response to people who said that like something with such a bleak prompt doesn't work. Well, it does, because there's proof of it. People have joined in and enjoyed the story for its own merit and for being able to communicate with other people, and how the story kind of reacts to them by having like inclusions of readers' names and stuff. And yes, I did reveal myself. I don't think revealing Imploding Colon as Short Skirts and Explosions had as big as an impact as I originally thought it would. But I've come to the point where like I'm so proud of the story, even though I will admit it's not the best quality. I enjoy it. It brings people together. People have fucking hoodies based on this. I have one in my closet thanks to Hap. Thank you, Hap.
Wow.
Very generous of you. Yeah, they're big, like photographs of like meetups where people like all wearing these. Sorry for interrupting you. They're like photographs of people who are at meetups in both, I think, United States and UK, where they're just meeting up. With
there was a photo of the BronyCon UK, the Buck meetup.
Yeah, thank you, Buck meetup. But what I was getting at is that I'm at the point where I'm proud of the story, that I kind of get those sort of like retroactive feelings, like, oh, I wish I could have somehow got this featured on Equestria Daily. Nowadays, who cares? I kind of wish that like I could get more people interested. And how do you do that? You have to explain the story beyond the fucking Rainbow Dash flies east, but that was what brought people in, was the cryptic nature of it. To answer your question, Arconix, she's not just flown, she's also like gone on hoof and like taken aircraft and boats and all sorts of shit. But she's reached the edge of the world, and the world of Australia is a curved plane, not like a flat world, but like a curved one that has a convex and a concave side. And everything we know from canonical... Sort of. Oh my god, I never thought about that in metaphor. All right. Fuck. Anyways, everyone lives on the ass part of the saddle in like the world of My Little Pony, but then there's like a dark side that doesn't have the sun and moon shine on it, which is where a whole bunch of chaotic shit is going on. There's a thing called a trinary war. People are battling over something called the Midnight Armory, and Rainbow Dash's goal is to get to that spot opposite the side of Equestria on the dark side of the world. Well, after after 8 books, she's finally there. Book 9, which took forever and a day to give birth to again because I went on a long hiatus, is now about her going into the dark side, and presumably there's going to be a return to the light side as well, which is weird because it's a 12 novel franchise and it's over halfway done, and she's only now on the opposite side of the plane. Arguably, the story has a halfway point in terms of its narrative style and its themes, and we've surpassed that at this point. So I still argue for it in that respect. But most of the issues with Australia from day one has been about formatting it, because when I first started, I assumed incorrectly that the maximum allowance of chapters was 200. Turns out it's 1,000. I found that out with Apple Dash.
That's very true.
I'm the first person to discover that.
You are.
I'll leave clean to that. It wasn't Black Rose Raven, it was me. But because I originally thought that you had a cap of 200 chapters, I've structured each novel to be 200 chapters long maximum. And because of that, I would like bust my ass like a Yin and Luder, which was book 7, I believe. The end of 2015, I was making like 20,000, 30,000 word chapters just to fit like the format, and I was killing myself over it. And finally, with book 8, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to write, not structure it. So these last 4 books can be way bigger than the ones beforehand to make it all work.
Fair enough. Propmaster says Arconix blows Austria wide open.
Saddles.
This is saddle comment. Wandra D says he wants a hoodie. And also wants to be a character in your story because it's all about him. Fludder Priest asks, how much time do you dedicate to horse words a day?
A lot of people ask me that, but I'm a lazy asshole, so I don't really do a whole lot. I mean, I'm finally doing dailies again. I'm finally getting back into the groove, and like, I want to say maybe an hour. It really depends. If it's like a decent attempt at working something, it's gonna be about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Back in the day, it would be maybe 2 hours. Usually, I'd come home and just slam it down like between like 10 and midnight, and then have something out. If I'm writing like a one shot, like the last thing I wrote was what was the last thing I wrote? I wrote that Crackfic Equestria Daily thing, the Legend of Butt Dial. That was maybe 2 hours, 3 hours of writing. But the last like serious thing I did was a story from Monochromatic's contest. I'm not gonna plug it, but I think that was 6 hours for what that came out to be. That's a normal maybe 6 to 8 hours for like a decent attempt at like a one shot that I actually feel hearted about. That's kind of the length of time.
And how many days was that 6 to 8 hours spread over? Like,
oh, for the Monochromatic story, I just did in one day.
Oh, fair enough.
Wow.
Sat down and there it is. You know, that's usually how. That's why my stories are such crap. Is I just there it is. Get it all out. You know, take the plug out and go to the bathroom. What?
Just stop.
Stop what?
Your stories are great. All right. Seriously.
They
I
are
thought you
good
like stop with the sodomy analogies. I don't know.
No, I just couldn't stop writing, please. No, they're good shit.
No.
They're good shit.
Yeah, good shit. Great shit. The best.
I'll say they're decent, but they're no Colden Gardes or no they're no blue shit.
Nobody can be called in fucking Gardes.
Yeah.
Can I?
God.
I will plug this.
He's the physical embodiment of horse words at this point.
But he's so thin.
We're right now we're in the middle of the Propessance, which is Prop Master. My good friend is writing a lot of really awesome stuff, and he's doing commissions. And his story, well, his series, I guess you could say, "Man Cannot Live on Tea Alone," and now "Man Cannot Live on Coffee Alone," which is a good human and equestrian story from the heart. Yes, with Rarity. He's been doing that, a lot of other stuff. In the middle of all this, he decided to do a wonderful thing from the heart called Project West Horse. When I created the Lemur Discord group basically as a way to ego stroke myself into getting Australia back on the ground, and it worked. He decided to get a bunch of people from all across the Noble Jury like neighborhood and say, hey, we're going to do something for Skirts, quote unquote, for his birthday. And in the span of 2 weeks, he got maybe 20, 25 odd people to write like an Australia chapter, like maybe 1,000 words of Rainbow Dash hypothetically flying westward across the world, like United States and then Asia and Europe and stuff. And he got everyone to write like a landscape they're familiar with. And it's a very disjointed story, but it's done purposely to kind of emulate and, sort of give like respect to the Australia series. And at the end, he tops it off with like his own chapter that's like a meta reference to myself, and it's really sweet and heartwarming. Unfortunately, I don't have a heart, but he got Colden fucking Gardes to write a chapter about it, and it's holy shit, that's like when you have like an all-star team and like you got like all these bench sitters and you got Kobe Bryant there. It's like, whoa, Kobe, okay. So that was a nice birthday gift, and thank you, Props, in case you're listening.
Prop is listening. Prop is listening. Prop says, "Oh fuck, Skirts, no, you bastard." That's what Prop says. Lexicon Spark says, what the heck is Colden Gardes? Colden Gardes is the single best writer on the site.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think everyone here will say that Colden Gardes is amazing. Nighty himself has said that his favorite author is Colden Gardes.
No, you don't even read.
I will say, I would like to say that Colden Gardes is the real army guy, because he is still in the army. He's deployed to Afghanistan multiple times. As I understand it, he works with special forces. So he is the real army guy. I'm just a dude that kind of says he's in the army.
He's one of the army guys who was legally not allowed to talk about what he does in the army. He's that kind of army guy.
And he's so chill.
He's so chill.
Fucking thin.
Yes, he's like we met him at BronyCon I met him a couple of years ago. You probably met him last year as well. He's a super nice guy and super laid back and quiet, and he just kind of sits there and listens to other people talk.
Yeah. I'm like his biggest fan, and I met him when I had no blood, so I couldn't think.
It's true. Arch had no blood at the time.
I was dying from anemia at the time and didn't realize it.
Yeah,
and it's like. So I basically met Colden Gardes while I was demented and insane. And
basically.
had no mind. And it's like, fucking missed opportunity.
I was lucky enough and honored to have shared a podcast with him with Wander D. Wander D hosted it back in the day. It was myself, Clinton Gardez, and then it was
was it
our
Blue?
good friend.
Well,
Well,
it was Arcanum?
Arcanum?
no, the guy who
I
wrote
think so.
Chromosome from back in the day. He wrote.
Chromosome.
Fucking hell.
He kind of had a.
Wow.
I guess you could, depending on your
He wrote the
interpretation, sort of a meltdown. Yeah, he wrote he wrote Air, which was a Mirror's Edge crossover, which was actually really well done, and I remember like just orgasming over it and stuff. And I had real respect for him and Clinton Gardez, and I was like, who am I next to these two awesome guys? I'm a total schmuck, you know.
Yeah,
but
they
that was
think
good
the same
times.
thing. It's called imposter syndrome.
Yeah, everyone who
Everyone's-
is good at horse words thinks they're awful at horse words. So.
Yeah, I think I'm great.
I'm
Clinton Gardez is so awesome that he doesn't need to spell out false humility like me. You know, I'm an egotistical bastard. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's another thing about him. He's like the most humble guy ever.
Dude, he's great.
Plum, you told me to save it for another podcast, but I'm dying to tell my Silent Ponyville story.
Dude, we're already like 10 minutes over time. You have to come back soon. We'll do that.
Okay.
Rob Kikrin says he has someone who's going to be working on a MASH crossover fic, and he's asking if Skirts has any interest in joining in on that shit.
I don't think I would do it justice, but I would love to edit for it.
Yeah, okay. There you go, Rob. Barker says Colin Gardez is pretty damn cool. Prop says Skirts is the best and is laughing at Arch. Props is reacting to the final chapter reaction, which you did a moment ago, Skirts. I think that's basically the end of the stream, except for the fact that Rob, this is the face of the man who is making your fidget spinner right now. You can't escape this, Skirts. Stop booking your fucking travel expenses. Here we go.